my sickness. Father, make me better. Someone get the witness. Tell me you love me in the midst of my condition.
What is up? Welcome to the video. Today we're covering Capital Backyard Ultra, which is a last person standing race in Virginia. For those of you who are new here and have never heard of a last person standing race, let me give you a quick rundown. This is a super fun format. How it works is everyone is set up right in front of the start finish line and you run a 4.2 mile loop. You have an hour to complete it. Whatever is left in that hour can be spent resting, but you do need to be back at the starting line at the top of the next hour. This race continues either till you quit, until you don't make it in time, or until you're the last person standing. There is only one winner, which is the last person standing, and everyone else is technically a DNF, otherwise known as a did not finish. Let's get into the race. The course was absolutely beautiful and the weather was perfect. I was super pumped for this because a lot of my other races have been raining, have been muddy, and pretty gross. But this one, the temperature was perfect. It was like mid 60s. At night it was around 50 degrees, perfect temps for running. And during the day, the course was so pretty. So it started off with a pretty flat start where you're going for about maybe 1 to 1.5 miles, where it's pretty flat and mostly grass. And then you make your way onto the trail, and the trail had about 300 to 350 feet of elevation gain per loop, but didn't really feel like it the way it's spread out. It actually kept your mind busy, and it really helped the laps just like keep going by super fast. I really felt like I was gonna run on this thing forever. It was heavily shaded, which was great. It kept you cool. And for this race, you do need to qualify for it. I know they allowed some newer runners to join last minute, but this led to there not being that many runners. So I think we had about 38 runners in total. And it did include Scott Snell, who won the US Team Championships for the Backyard Ultra in Tennessee. I didn't get to chat with him much during the race, but we did do an Instagram live after the race. So it was great to chat with him then and just talk about the race and some of the previous races he's done. Awesome dude. So if you want to check out that IG live, definitely head over to my Instagram. But for this race, we had everything locked in. So I had some extra crew. Typically it's my girlfriend Riley who crews me, but I had a few extra people help crew me for this race, which really helped to make her life a little bit easier so she didn't have to focus on taking care of me and taking care of herself. She had some people to help and some helping hands. But things were going great during the day loop. I felt like we were cruising. I did notice early on that I was having a little bit of Achilles pain, which is something I was dealing with during my run through Illinois, where I went 416 miles from the bottom of Illinois to the top. Now, after I completed that, I had a little over a month to help prepare for this. And I definitely needed every minute of that because my body was very beat up from that race. Looking back, I think one of the things that caused so much damage was the fact that it was all on roads, where a lot of ultras you're running on trails where it's a little bit easier on your joints. So that really beat me up heading into this one. My feet were swollen even heading into the race from the last one, but I figured I'd be able to just figure it out and find a way to get it done. I was a little bit wrong on that, but we'll get into it here in a second. So during the day, miles were going by. Again, the only thing was that Achilles that was starting to cause problems. In terms of my fueling throughout the day, I started off with a lot of honey stingers, and then I had a couple bagels, and then I actually switched over to sourdough bread, which was a new thing that I've never tried before. It was going down easy. I was able to eat it quickly, which helped in between loops. I was taking out some liquid electrolytes, and then I was doing salt stick. I would do about 2 to 3 pills, and my salt intake was around like 700 to 1,000 milligrams per hour over the course of the race. In terms of salt stick, I used both the regular pills and I used their caffeinated pills. What I love about the caffeinated pills is it only has like 35 milligrams of caffeine in them. So you're getting like small dose of caffeine throughout the race where you're not like jolted all at once. It's just the gradual increase of the caffeine, which I absolutely love. In terms of my shoes that I wore for this Backyard Ultra, I wore the Mountain Coast T1. This shoe was so awesome. I love this shoe. It was so lightweight. It has 2 different like systems where you can tighten it on the front. I was cruising on the course. And then for the night loop, I wore the Mountain Coast R1, which is a shoe that I love. I wore it for my run through Illinois. I wore it for the Tunnel Hill 100 miler. The shoes were awesome. I definitely wouldn't have changed anything with that. It was more so just coming off an injury from that last race. The daytime loop flew by. I did notice my Achilles slowly, gradually starting to get worse and more painful, but I figured I'd be able to finish this race and then deal with it after. We did get to the night loop, did a very quick change to get prepared for the night, and the night loop was so nice. We just took a left and then we were right onto a bike path going down and back. It was pretty flat and the time just kind of flew by. That was no problem at all. We were cruising through the night. It did get pretty cold, so I was changing quite frequently to help stay warm, and I was taking in some chicken noodle soup, some mashed potatoes, which helped keep me warm during the night. And we were preparing for the next day, In the first day loop I ran, I started to notice my Achilles was in a lot of pain, and I started getting really worried because during my run through Illinois, there was times where I couldn't even put weight on it. It got so bad, and that happened very soon after. So I took off for a loop, and I got about half a mile in, and my Achilles just completely went out. It was in so much pain. It was like excruciating to the point where I didn't even know if I'd be able to get off the course. I thought I might have to like call someone to help me get off the course. And I was like, oh dang, like I can't end here. Like we're moving so well. Everything is locked in. Fueling is locked in. Like things couldn't go any more perfectly. And I was like, what can I do? I'm on this loop. And during a backyard ultra, you can't get assistance from anyone. You can't have people hand you stuff while you're on course. You have to get the loop done on your own. And then once you get back to your tent, you can figure things out. So I was like, what can I put in my shoe to lift my foot up a little bit? And that is when I came up with the idea to put a Morton gel underneath my heel, which is the only thing on me. I was kind of worried it might pop and end up just making a mess, but it did hold up over the course of the loop, and I was able to finish the loop. I barely made it in time, and we did some quick adjustments, and then I went out for another loop, and it just kept getting worse and worse to the point where no matter how much I elevated my heels, I tried compression, I tried everything, nothing was working. And that was when I realized this isn't just pain I'm dealing with, which is the case 99% of the time for ultras. This is an actual injury. I still haven't really put much weight on since. I've been trying to kind of take it easy on that leg, and I've not done any running since, but I'm really just trying to get this thing recovered for future races. Now in hindsight, I feel like what I should have done is in that month gap, I shouldn't have ran at all, but I did run for the last couple weeks leading up to it, even though my feet were still pretty swollen. So definitely we'll keep that in mind for the future. The reason why I planned it this way, where I had the Run Through Illinois and then Capital Backyard Ultra very shortly after, is last year I did something similar where I did a 200 miler. A month before I did a Backyard Ultra, and I ended up winning that Backyard Ultra. And I felt like a huge reason it was so easy for me was because the 200 miler was so hard and so uncomfortable that it made the Backyard Ultra so easy. Like at the end of my Backyard Ultra last year, I was running loops no problem. At the end, I was running my fastest loops. I felt like I just started at the end of it. And that was because I was just mentally in such a good spot where I dealt with so much more pain that this race felt easy. And I did feel that way for this race. It felt so easy for all those hours I was on the course. Mentally, I was like, this is nothing. This is an absolute breeze. But the Achilles ended up being something that caused problems, and my Achilles heel ended up being my Achilles heel to where I couldn't even move on it. So in hindsight, definitely need to take the proper recovery. And if I'm still really beat up from the last race, I do have to take the right amount of time off and just be able to realize if something is an injury versus is it something that's just uncomfortable. And this is my first time really dealing with an injury. So definitely we'll have to look at that more before heading into a race. Big shout out to Scott Snell, who ended up winning this race. So he's now won Capital quite a few times, and that's kind of been his course. But I definitely would love to run this course again when I'm more healthy, potentially next year, maybe a year after, and see what we could do with this course and see how far we can go. I'm recovering now. Things are starting to feel a lot better. I have a lot more races on the calendar. I feel like taking these 3 weeks off so far has really helped. I was actually in a boot for a couple weeks to try not put any weight on it. I am a personal trainer, so being on my feet all day definitely creates a lot of wear and tear. So that has helped, and I feel like I'm really in a good direction in terms of recovery. If everything goes well, I will be running quite a few marathons and potentially even another Backyard Ultra. I'll be doing the Tunnel Vision Marathon, which is in Washington. I did have a plan to shoot for a PR for that race. It is a pretty downhill race, which is awesome, which I'm really excited to run on that course. So we're gonna have to see how things feel and see how much time I get to prep before that race. And then some other fun races I have coming up. I'm doing Prairie on Fire Backyard Ultra in Indiana if everything goes well. That looks like an awesome course that I'm really excited to run. And the nice thing, it's only like 3 hours from where I live. Other races, Chicago Marathon, which I've now ran twice. This will be my third time. I'm running that with BioFreeze. Super excited for that. I'll be running the New York City Marathon, which will be my first time doing that, so that'll be my second world major, and then running Indy Monumental, which is another course that I'm excited to see and to run. So a lot of fun races still on the calendar. It's just all about how much I can recover leading up to these races. I'm definitely gonna be a lot smarter heading into them. That is a wrap for Capital Backyard Ultra. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, if you can give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, definitely subscribe and stay tuned for more running content.